Howdy all, name's Higton. Every once in a while I get my hands on some brand new gameplay footage, and today is one of those days. Care to find out 21 things you need to know about the Outer Worlds gameplay? Excellent news, stranger. Let's do this.
Let's kick things off with some friends, because everybody loves friends.
No, not that friends. These friends.
Hey, got a favor to ask you.
Companions like Nyoka here will play a huge role in your playthroughs of the Outer Worlds, and you can bring as many as 2 companions along with you on your missions.
They'll never see us.
In this gameplay, our character Dutch was rolling with Nyoka and Parvati, although it's perfectly acceptable to go into battle solo if you want. Trouble is, if you do that, you'll miss out on all the companion-y benefits that having companions brings, such as the ability to boss them around at the touch of a button.
Which is just like how I wish it worked with my real-life friends.
On the bottom left of the heads-up display, you can see 4 icons, each with a corresponding activation key. Obviously, this is on PC, so these keys will change depending on your platform of choice, but here a press of X will order a companion to target a specific enemy, while F gets them to move forwards, which is useful if you want them to soften up some targets before you come barreling in. The most interesting buttons are Z and C though, as these trigger your companion's special moves, which they unleash in some oh-so-cinematic moments. Once their murder spree is over, there's a small cooldown period for that skill, but apart from that, you can use them whenever you like.
Feeling well, Jal, about your companion's awesome special attacks? Well, don't! Because you, my friends, have a special power that you can use too.
As you can see here, you've got the power to slow down time by using something called Tactical Time Dilation. TTD can be very useful when it comes to tackling multiple enemies at once, or for targeting enemy weak points, but to be honest with you, I just like it because it makes headshots look freaking cool. In the top left of the HUD, you'll spot your TTD meter, which is a purple bar beneath your health. Once activated, that bar will slowly decrease over time, but you'll notice that with any bullet fired, that drop will happen in much bigger chunks, meaning that you'll really need to plan out the effectiveness of your shots beforehand in order to avoid wasting your TTD. Another cool effect of the TTDs is finding out specific enemy details when you target them in slow-mo. Do this and a little dialogue box will appear on the left-hand side of your HUD, detailing your foe's level, health and armor stats, along with an analysis of its attacks and defense strategies, and its status effects. Oh, and there'll always be a little nugget of info at the bottom that tells you a fun but useless fact, like for this Mega Mantisaur that ate its brother soon after birth, or this Marauder hooligan who needs excessive and immediate dental work.
Although it kinda looks like we just gave it to them there. Oh, teeth everywhere.
Don't want to go in all guns blazing? That's no problem. The Outer Worlds caters to a load of different playstyles, and as you can see here, sneaking past enemies is just as valid an approach as going in loud. As long as you don't get spotted, that is. If you get spotted, then, well, this happens.
One hell of a nice work.
In more sedate moments, when your companionados aren't busy turning people inside out with a barrage of machine gun fire, you'll notice that they often start to chat amongst themselves.
This is fun, isn't it? Nice views, a little exercise and fresh air. Well, and sulfury, spory air.
It is a trek, isn't it? Almost like we don't have transport bots here, or working lifts, or roads.
These little convos don't seem to add too much to the overall story, but they do let you learn a little bit more about your pals' personalities, and they also serve to break up some of the more quieter moments in the game.
If you're feeling particularly nosy though, you can always go and chat to your companions yourself. This way you'll get to know more of their backstory and perhaps even learn of some companion-specific side quests.
I took a job once to clear out a rap nest. Partnered up with a fellow out of Fallbrook who called himself Dirty Don. Bit on the shorter side. Had a penchant for cards. Thing is, he introduces himself and the man is immaculate. Clean.
As far as we can tell, there are no romancing options in the Outer Worlds, so if you're a fan of that kind of thing, you're gonna need to go somewhere else to get your virtual bone on.
But completing companion-specific side quests should reward you with companion-specific perk points, which you can then use to increase their effectiveness in battle. That's not the only way to mould your mates into maximum efficiency murder machines though. You can also toggle your companions' behaviours and tailor their combat preferences to your liking. So, for example, if you want a long-range sniper who hangs back and attacks everything they see, set the distance to far, the weapon to ranged, and the mode to aggressive. And wham-bam headshots your man, you've got yourself a long-distance assassin for a best friend.
This station's under the protection of the corporate compliance crew. You a marauder? 'Cause me and my sunshine, that's my gun if you were wondering, we don't take kindly to marauders.
So we've already seen a bit of this already, but old school Fallout fans will be happy to know that your character Dutch is a silent protagonist. None of this fully voiced talky talkerson nonsense that popped up in Fallout 4, oh no, just a list of conversational choices and a bunch of voiced answers from whomever is lucky enough to be on the receiving end of your questions.
You want more details?
Chatting with NPCs isn't always just a straight question and answer session though. By employing speech skills, you can try to persuade, intimidate, or lie your way to a resolution that benefits your mission. Obviously, this isn't going to work every time, so choose your moments, but a silver tongue could give you the edge when talking to a particularly hostile character.
I don't believe that for a nanosecond, but if it'll get you out of my rapidly graying hair, fine.
It's not just NPCs who'll fill you in on all the goings-on in Halcyon though. As in every good sci-fi RPG, you can also get a bunch of extra lore by logging onto computer terminals.
This will mean that you'll actually have to read actual boring words though, so I won't judge you if you just want to skip over those parts.
Hello there. A word, if I may be so bold?
Let's take a quick look at the merchants now.
Got something that might interest you.
No, not those merchants.
Name's Weston. Every once in a while, I set up shop along these here roads. You find yourself in need of resupply, you come on by.
Just like any good RPG, there'll be plenty of merchants and vendors around to spend your moolah with. Some of them will be wandering vendors like this chap here, and some will be found in shops in towns, but all of them accept something called bits as the currency. These salesfolk allow you to buy and sell goods as per usual, but if you're a bit worse for wear, you can also pay them to repair your weapons and armour.
Of course, you don't actually have to buy things to get things. Looting is of course an extremely valid and excellent way of getting all the schnaffles a growing adventurer like you needs to survive.
Now, there are plenty of containers hidden around Halcyon for you to dip your looting fingers into, but of course, you can always raid the pockets of anything or anyone that's been unlucky enough to stand in front of the business end of your guns. If a bout of necro-yoinking isn't your style though, you could always try to relieve a living character of their goodies by employing some good old-fashioned pickpocketing. Try crouching down behind an NPC and you'll see a padlock symbol appear on their butts, indicating that you can indulge in a sneaky spot of finger dipping.
Pickpocketing isn't the only way to commit a crime in the Outer Worlds, though. You can also do a stealing if you're feeling daring enough.
This works pretty much identically to how stealing works in Fallout or Elder Scrolls games. Just yoink something from an owned building or container, and you can tell it's owned if the item's name is written in red, and you'll have done a steal.
Congratulations! You're a thief. Happy now?
The trouble with stealing is that you risk getting caught, but if that does happen, you have a few ways out. You can employ speech skills to lie, intimidate, or persuade your way out of trouble, or you could try a spot of bribery. If all else fails, though, you could just attack your accuser, but that's bound to bring the whole town running to their defence, so perhaps avoid that if you can.
So that's stealing and pickpocketing dealt with. But what about those of you who want to indulge in a little bit of B&E? That's breaking and entering for those of you out there who don't know your criminal acronyms.
You can lockpick the usual suspects like doors and safes in the Outer Worlds, but it looks to be a lot simpler here than in other RPGs like Fallout or Skyrim. You see, there's none of this lockpicking minigame malarkey here. As long as you have a lockpick on your person, all you need to do is hold down a button and wait a few moments for that lock to ping open. It's faster and more efficient, sure, but it lacks any real challenge at all, and to be honest, it feels maybe a little cheap. As with all RPGs, exploration is a big part of your adventures, and as such, discovering new locations will award you with some lovely XP. Not only that though, it'll also help speed up your future missions, as any location you've discovered in the past can be used as a fast travel point in the future. Just open your map, pick a location, and off you go. Now, this next point could well deliver different results when the full game comes out, especially if you're playing it on different platforms, but here on this PC demo, I was pleasantly surprised by how swift the loading times were. God knows the amount of my life I've wasted waiting for Fallout 4 or Skyrim locations to load in, but in the Outer Worlds, the loading times seem to be drastically shorter. To load an interior, it took about 5 seconds in this demo, while loading the exterior world took about 9 seconds. Fast travel time from exterior to exterior, however, only took about 6 seconds.
So that's great news for anyone like me who still gets terrible flashbacks of staring at Fallout 4's loading screens for hours upon end after accidentally entering a building when you didn't actually mean to.
Okay, it's time to take a closer look at your perks. On this screen here, we can see 3 tiers of perks which you can assign to your character, and you'll get 1 new perk point for every even level you reach. You unlock a new perk tier for every 5 perks you assign yourself, so if I wanted to unlock tier 3 here, I would need to first assign myself 10 perks total. The perk choices available to you are nicely varied, and they range from things like Hoarder, which allows you to carry more loot, to Rolling Thunder, which reduces the cooldown time for your companion's special attacks. Perks aren't the only way to upgrade your character though, because you'll be awarded with 10 skill points each time you reach a new level. Points placed into a core skill, like dialogue in this instance, adds a +1 to each specialised skill in the dialogue section. So here that's persuade, lie and intimidate. Once these skills reach level 50 though, you can choose to specialise them individually by adding points directly to these skills. It's also worth pointing out that you cannot undo skill or perk point allocations after you've confirmed them, so there's no rebalancing your character in the future if you feel like you've made a mistake. Let's look at your inventory screen a little closer now, because it looks like you can hold 4 weapons on your person at once. That's 3 guns and 1 melee weapon, for those of you who are counting. And you can also check and compare the stats of each weapon very easily just by hovering your mouse pointer over its icon. There's plenty of space in your pockets for other weapons, ammo, armor, consumables, files, and miscellaneous items too, but just like the Bethesda-made RPGs you may be used to, there is a weight limit to what you can carry. See this weird thing that our character is putting to their face there? That is your emergency medical inhaler, and that lives in the consumables section of your inventory. The emergency medical inhaler uses something called Adreno as fuel, so you'll need to keep an eye out for that if you want to be able to heal yourself in an emergency. The cool thing about the EMI though is that you can unlock extra slots for it as you increase your medical skill, so you can mix the drugs that you load into it for combined effects.
Now, obviously, you shouldn't try this at home with a real inhaler because you'll go and do a died. But in the game, going all Walter White should give you a fair few extra boosts.
It's also worth pointing out that the higher your medical skill, the longer the duration of the EMI's effects, so perhaps spending a few perks on that will be a wise decision when it comes to some of the more tricky battles.
That's the last of them, I think.
Alrighty, it's time to move on to my final point, and this one is all about something that I don't have in real life, and that's flaws.
You may have noticed during this gameplay that our player character has been set on fire quite a lot. How clumsy. This unfortunate ability to attract hot stuff has created a flaw in our character, which is something that gets triggered throughout the game by various events. Now, you don't have to take the flaw if you don't want to, because normally flaws are bad, but in the Outer Worlds, they can also come with some benefits. In this example, our burn-loving character found the plasma weakness flaw, which adds a 25% boost to damage received by plasma. That's bad. But at the same time, it also awards us with 1 extra perk point, which is good. But does that good balance out the bad? That's for you to decide when you play the game.
And that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've learnt a load more stuff about the Outer Worlds gameplay that you didn't know before. I certainly did making it, and I'm very excited to play the full game upon release. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like, subscribe for more Outer Worlds gameplay videos when and where we can get them, and do check out some of these other videos what are on screen now. Goodbye. Right, I'm going to activate my TTD and get the hell out of here. No, Ian's going now. Bye, bye.